Hello, A2RU. I'm Matthew Cowell. I'm coming to you from Colorado, invited by Jenny Filippetti. Couldn't make it in person, but maybe you're seeing this video now in the future. I was glad to be invited. Jenny is amazing. Corresponding with her and her thoughtfulness and thoroughness. To have a professor like her when I was in, before I learned all this stuff the hard way, wow. So what a great time we're living in. Talking about immersive today. Well, one of my first immersive experiences might be unique in that I was also helping produce this touring event. So for 12 years, this festival called Tour de Fat went around the country, raised $5 million with bicycling by having these costumed, immersive, artful parties in the park with nonprofits that brought hundreds of volunteers to make it all happen. So it's total potluck kind of vibe. Want to see a video? Okay, come over here.
Tour de Fat is one of the worst tours I've ever been on. It's terrible because people are nice. There's like good food and there's good beer, and I don't like that. I also don't like people have like little kids around and the kids are like having a good time. There's not a lot of creativity at Tour de Fats, but you'll find one or two creative things, which is that's refreshing. Yeah, so I mean, it's very unpleasant, but I'll continue to do those.
What a wonderful philanthropic effort New Belgium has across the whole country to improve the state of cycling in 12 different cities every year.
New Belgium started the Tour de Fat 13 years ago as a way to get people together around a few good things: bicycles, beer, and community fundraising.
On your marks, slow.
You can walk around here and just kind of laugh at people, and it just makes you smile.
You will have more than enough to do, we promise, or your money back.
We're creating a better place with the funding that New Belgium brings in, with the fun that New Belgium brings in. We're engaging more people every single show that have never been on a bike, who maybe wouldn't have been on a bike today if it weren't for this festival.
On a little tour, you can look around some of the ephemera we've collected through the years. A coffee table book. There's a car for bike trade at all these events. You can see people doing a slow ride and very much into the immersive, cooperative experience of the audience being part of the show. Giant 1,000-person dance contest to win a bike. Go on a little tour, I'll sing a little song. My wife is the camera person. She was also the person dressed in yellow in that video you might have seen. Dress up freaky and I ride my bike since the olden days when I rode my trike, and I used to think I was on my own, but now I found you, I know I'm not alone. We don't sweat it, hardly worry on busy days, we never hurry. I ring my bell with a hi-fi tickle, I go rolling smooth on my fly bicycle. Don't tell me you got a better notion for getting around than when we put two wheels in motion and we ride on into town. Tell me you got a better notion for getting around than when we put two wheels in motion and we ride on into town. So, then what? Majestic Collaborations. What are we doing? This is my new company formed after did New Belgium 2004 to 2016, and started a company 2 years ago with my wife. And let me turn this off. And we have work connecting bands, brands, and agencies to their communities through community-involved events, initiatives, and policy work. Current clients are the City of Denver's music strategy and development grants, Sound Diplomacy from London that does the Music Cities conferences around the world, the Factor Canada, that's the music agency in Canada. We're leading missions of musicians across the borders there to share. And then most recently, I have a grant from the Mellon Foundation to do emergency preparedness for performing arts organizations. And so how I got there was through producing these sort of festivals. We had all of our own stages, 3 semi-trucks with solar panels and biodiesel, and we owned all our own power structures. We had to do engineering for all of these structures and crowd control, crowd management certifications. Early in life, I did EMT training, and for some reason always felt like I needed to be prepared for the worst of times, probably all the Woody Guthrie my dad sang me as a kid. And so I was definitely glad to run into this really positive version of advocacy through bicycling, because I think I have this sort of natural Che Guevara in me that has been very well tempered through this sort of positive lifestyle that bicycling offered. So right now we're segueing as a company into emergency preparedness as a way to engage with crowds. And so while the grant that I have right now is working on emergency preparedness plans for performing arts of all kinds, including immersive type festivals and events, we are looking for ways to bring that to more hands-on skill sharing at events. And so people who have event experience like myself can bring those skills to share with other folks and emergency preparedness personnel in their communities to study and train on emergency power, water, waste, communications, and those things in a real environment prior to things like flooding and emergencies in their community. I got this idea at Standing Rock, really realized that the a festival and a sort of large demonstration or even a refugee camp or power damaged city are quite similar. Also at that time, really recognizing that the Indigenous relationship to the land was very important. When I was in Canada, they start every public event with a recognition of the history of the land, and so in Denver that would be the Cheyenne, Ute, and Arapaho, and other tribes. So we've been looking at ways to incorporate that into the experience as well, to help ground people and where they're at and talk about the relationship of that land historically and currently to Indigenous people. I would just close by saying I put out a challenge for you to think about how to incorporate Indigenous folks into the consciousness of what that festival or immersive event that you're doing, and how to continue with building bridges there, and to think about your own safety plan for your people, and to think about that kind of stuff in advance. You can reach out to us at Majestic Collaborations if you have any questions, and wish you well on all you're doing there. Have a great time, and thank you so much, Ginny. Really appreciate you having us, and I bid you all the greatest, happiest convention you ever had in your whole life.